Hey there, I had kind of the worst video recording day ever, and I recorded this entire Wordle video with no sound. So while I was able to recreate my little essay on today's country that comes after the Wordle solve itself has no audio. I considered trying to recreate it using an incognito window like this one and decided that felt really inauthentic. So what I did is I chopped out all the parts where I was talking without apparently doing anything, left the bits of the solve, which is about like 45 seconds. And then if you want to watch that so you can see the solve, because it was a really good solve, and then stay tuned for information about Trinidad and Tobago, which was yesterday's Countryle answer, and is the birthplace of the limbo, which is why I chose limbo as my starting word. Please enjoy. Thank you. So let's talk about Trinidad and Tobago. The Republic of Trinidad and Tobago is the southernmost island country in the Caribbean near the northeastern coast of Venezuela. It was inhabited for at least 7,000 years by indigenous people from the South American continent and was first contacted by Europeans when Christopher Columbus landed on Trinidad in 1498. The islands were eventually colonized by the Spanish in 1592, but changed hands frequently among European powers, including the Spanish, the Dutch, and the English, among others. This occurred 31 times until it finally came under control of the British in 1802. A plantation economy had developed based on the production of sugar, indigo, and rum. Large numbers of enslaved Africans were brought to work the plantations. When slavery was abolished in 1833, most of the African laborers refused to continue working on the plantations and settled in urban areas. A system of indentureship was established by the British to replace these African laborers, bringing Indians, Chinese, and Portuguese instead. Indians made up the largest number of indentured laborers, and this system lasted from 1845 to 1917, during which time more than 147,000 Indians came to Trinidad. The indentureship system resulted in many people being granted small parcels of land at the end of their contracts and settling on Trinidad, while the descendants of most of the enslaved Africans continued to make up the majority of Tobago's population. Trinidad and Tobago gained independence from the UK on August 31st, 1962, with Elizabeth II remaining head of state and queen, represented locally by a governor-general. In 1963, Tobago was struck by Hurricane Flora, which killed 30 and caused enormous destruction. Partly as a result, tourism came to replace agriculture as the island's primary source of income. In 1976, the country became a republic within the Commonwealth, with a parliamentary system based on the Westminster system, which has the president as head of state and the prime minister as head of government, and a bicameral parliament. The climate is maritime tropical, and the islands are a mixture of mountains and plains. The flora and fauna resemble Venezuela's, given that the islands were once connected to the mainland, unlike many of the other Caribbean islands. The country is especially known for its diversity of bird species. Trinidad and Tobago is very ethnically diverse as well, including those of indigenous heritage, descendants of Indians and Africans who were brought to work the plantations, and others. Those of Indian descent make up the largest ethnic group on Trinidad, while those of African descent are the largest ethnic group on Tobago. There are small but significant minorities of people of Indigenous, other European, Portuguese, Latino, Hispanic, Chinese, and Arab descent. This ethnic diversity has resulted in a unique culture combining these influences, including, as evidenced by my starting word for today's Wordle, it was the birthplace of the limbo. English is the official language, with the local standard variety being Trinidad and Tobago Standard English, but the main spoken languages are two English-based creoles. Other languages spoken there include Hindustani, Spanish, Tamil, Chinese, and indigenous languages. Unlike most of the rest of the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago's economy is based largely on reserves of oil and gas, rather than tourism and agriculture. Trinidad and Tobago is the most developed and one of the wealthiest nations in the Caribbean. It is ranked 57th on the Human Development Index and was recently removed from the list of developing countries. It is 46th in the world in nominal GDP per capita. The infant mortality rate is 20.1 deaths per 1,000 live births, and the literacy rate is over 98%. Life expectancy is 73 years. Sorry about the mistake in the early part of the video. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed that little overview. Feel free to leave a comment here or on today's Countryle video with a suggestion for a starting word for tomorrow's Wordle based on today's Countryle answer. And I will see you then for some more Wordle.